Billy Bunny and Mrs. Bruin. In the last story I left off very suddenly while the band was playing, you remember, and I will tell you the reason why. My typewriter got so excited over the song about the sailor lad in blue and the soldier boy in town, in brown, that it began dancing to the music, of course. Then I couldn't write another word. Well, anyway, you remember that Billy Bunny and his good, kind Uncle Lucky were just leaving the Billy Goat sentry, who had stopped them in their automobile to continue their journey of adventure. So off they started down the road, and by they came across a big black bear with two little cubs. "Now there's nothing going to be more trouble. I know it," said little Billy Bunny. But good, kind Uncle Lucky didn't think so. You see, he was always looking on the bright side of things, so he called out to Mrs. Bruin, which was the lady bear's name, I believe. "Won't you get into the Lucky Mobile and we'll take you to town?" And of course, the little bears said yes right away, for they had never ridden in an automobile in all their lives. Well, in they climbed, and after Uncle Lucky had leaned over and closed the door, for the bears were so excited they had forgotten to do it, he started up the automobile, and away they went to Rabbitville, for that was the nearest town. And pretty soon the two little bears began to sing. "Uncle Lucky is so kind to take us for a drive, that we will get some honey from out the big beehive. We'll put it in a little box to keep it clean and neat, and then the flies won't eat it nor touch it with their feet." And after that Mrs. Bruin said, "Mr. Lucky Left Hind Foot, if you will stop at the next cross road, I'll get out and see if I can't find the honey for you." Well, when they came to the place, Mrs. Bruin climbed out and went into the woods. But before she left, she told the two little bears not to move and not to annoy Uncle Lucky nor Billy Bunny, but to be quiet until she came back. Well, I don't know exactly what happened in the woods, but pretty soon Mrs. Bruin came tearing back with a whole swarm of bees after her. Some had got under her bonnet and were stinging her ears, and some had crawled inside her silk mitts and were stinging her hands, and oh dear me, it was just dreadful. And when Uncle Lucky saw what was the matter, he told her to hurry up and get into the automobile. And then he made it go so fast that one of the bees lost his stinger because he couldn't keep up with it, and he didn't have time to take it out of Mrs. Bruin's ear. Well, wasn't it too bad? And in the next story, I'll tell you how Mrs. Bruin said goodbye to Billy Bunny. So come back next Friday to hear that story.